there any balance between positive and negative? Should we only be concerned with only negative externalities in studies such as what WASCAL is? I'm sure we'll begin to look at markets underpricing. Are there natural processes where we can upgrade or upskill those markets to levels where they begin to account for what they need, what they required to reduce negative externality? But I think we'll have small time for that discussion later. Thank you, Professor Popola, and thank you, Brown. It was an exciting discussion. Let's get the third paper. The third paper is from Dr. Alicia Mezebe, also from ZEF. And the discussant is Professor Agles.
Chair. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a great opportunity and privilege for me to be able to present on this international report by IPCC on climate change and land. I was coordinating of the chapter of the certification in this report. There were 6 other chapters, more than 100 scientists directly working on this report with contributions from another 100 or 200 contributing authors. Altogether, this report received almost 30,000 comments during its period of preparation, and each comment had to be responded to. The ideas, but I need to be very selective in what I'm presenting here, and I will try to present those aspects which are particularly, in my view, are relevant for the African region. Is that a more integrated analysis? So this is multiple direct and indirect drivers of natural resource management and how they relate to food security, to water and energy security. This report looked at land degradation from a human perspective, so how land degradation affects poverty, how land degradation affects livelihoods. And it looked not only, this report is a very much solutions-oriented. Of course, it Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. So in this group, the agriculture, forestry, and land use sector, if you add the food systems, so also take into account what we have during greenhouse gas emissions from the post-production or agriculture, food system in general are important drivers of climate change, of global warming, and this is one of the aspects that this report emphasizes strongly. If you look at from the other side of the causal channel, how climate change affects land degradation, we already heavy precipitation, soil erosion rates. If the global warming will continue into the future, we will see more increasing floods, drought frequency and severity, cyclones leading to coastal erosions, sea level rise, but what we can also tell is that the outcome of these impacts can be changed by land management, can be modified by land management. Whether or not we manage land sustainably or not sustainably can make a big difference. So when we look at the drivers, so causes of land degradation, many reports, even before this report, emphasize a lot. Expansion of croplands, so deforestation, unsustainable land management, increased pressure on land from population and income growth are among the major causes of land degradation. Earlier I said that about 25% of greenhouse gas emissions come from the AFOLU sector, so agriculture, forest, and land use sector. And if you look at the land use sector, the share of Africa in the greenhouse gas emission is 14%. So it may sound not very big share, but what is important also to take notice is that the rate of growth of emissions, greenhouse gas emissions coming from the land use sector is the highest in Africa. So 2.5% growth per year currently. So land degradation and climate change will reduce interactions between land degradation, desertification, and climate change on the attainment of SDGs. And here we can see that some of these results. So what we can see, so the longer is this bar, is the stronger the impact. So those which have more darker brown colors, there's high confidence about them, so there is much more literature. They may also have quite negative impacts on gender equity because of the role women play and because of their vulnerability in agriculture and because of their vulnerability to climate change due to different access to resources. But also, as was mentioned by previous speakers, about addressing land degradation is very difficult. And the other way around also, addressing land degradation without without adapting to climate change, without mitigating climate change is also very challenging. So the report looked at different challenges which we have in the land sector. So for example, here we can challenges around land use. So land degradation in dryland areas or desertification which are related to land use changes. So here we can see that West Africa region has some issues, but in general this challenge seems to be low. But in terms of the soil erosion aspect, there we can see much more widespread impact on some parts of the Western Africa region. Another challenge that the report looked into is, so that was included in the food security challenge into medium and high categories. So here we can see that this challenge is strong. For biodiversity loss, especially in parts of Western Africa where abstraction of groundwater is more than the annual recharge. And similarly, for water quality is present in some places, but in general, it's not a has big number of challenges intersecting, overlapping. So in many areas, 5 to 4 challenges overlapping together. Overall, the remote sensing studies, quantitative estimates show that about 30 million people in Western Africa are living in areas which experienced land degradation. The same studies show that although this Western Africa and the Sahel region as a whole, on average, is greening, so there is more NDVI, more greening occurring, there are some specific locations across the region which are suffering from land degradation, from desertification. And there are observations of their decline because of, including for climate-related reasons, exacerbating food insecurity and affecting livelihood. Harvesting technologies, conservation panels, we kind of assessed